Okay, now here we are at gate 60. You can see the number there, 60 at London Gatwick. The add-ons that I'm going to use here are just one. I'm going to be using the UK 2000 London Gatwick scenery. That's it. I have GSX installed. I'm not going to use it. We're going to do everything by the book and try to keep things on a budget. I am using different scenery just because it looks a little bit better on video and I like it. So that's what we're going to do there. Now, we already have a problem. You'll notice that the big spinny things on the side of the aircraft are actually spinning. We don't want them spinning. We've just picked up this aircraft. We would rather it not be in a powered up state. Who knows what the previous aircrew left for us in terms of traps. So we're going to reset this aircraft to cold and dark and start from there. So back in the cockpit. Oh, the other add-on I'm using, sorry, is Easy Dock Camera. I get asked this so much. How do I change my views like that? That is an add-on called Easy Dock. Again, I'm using it because I prefer it and it makes recording a video very easy. So, let's put this aircraft in cold and dark. There are two screens down here. Actually went the wrong way. Here we go. The right-hand screen in the Aerosoft Airbus X is just to set up the aircraft and also manage checklists. It doesn't actually work for anything else. So we're going to go aircraft state, cold and dark. There are buttons on the right. If you click on that top one, when it comes up again, you can actually set cold and dark as the default state, which means whenever you load the Airbus, it will be cold and dark. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump out of the sim. You won't be able to see it, but I'm going to jump out of the sim. Our Airbus X fuel planner that we previously set up, I'm going to click on the button now. In fact, let me change my view in the sim, because you'll see this happen. I'm going to click on the button that says load fuel and payload. Watch. Oh, you see it sink down on its suspension there as we put all the fuel and passengers on board. So that's good to know. One other thing I'm going to do before we go any further is passengers are going to want to get on board, even though we're not using add-ons. So I want the gate here to come out. That is Control J. Here it comes. That's going to connect to the side of the aircraft, ready for people to get on. We are now going to run through starting up this aircraft. Okay, now just as on the previous kind of beginner's introduction to the Airbus, I'm going to keep things simple and use the automated pilot and first officer for the majority of the flight, and we're actually going to do an auto land as well to show you how that works, but I still need to flick some switches myself. So up on the overhead, first thing are these two buttons here, battery 1 and 2, left click to turn them on. You will hear a whine. I'm going to turn the master switch for the APU on, and I'm going to start the APU. Wait until you can hear the APU spool up. While that's spooling up though, right click each of these knobs, sorry, left click each of these knobs to put them on nav. Sorry, right click, my goodness. Battery will go out. Alright, we'll turn on bleed air for the APU as well. We will simply run down here now and make sure there's nothing untoward. Everything is off, everything is good, so none of these switches need any attention at all. These ones do. We do need fuel to power the APU. Clicking these is not clicking them from off to on. In the Airbus, you're clicking them to automatic. So letting the computers manage them, which is just great. Down here, we don't want to mess with the lights yet. Lights would indicate to the ground crew that something is happening, and it's not right now. So seatbelts on, no smoking on, arm the emergency exit signs. We'll come back down here and we'll start turning on these displays, which is this knob, left click, this knob, left click. Down here, this knob, left click, this knob, left click. The only other thing we need to do is turn the radios on, which is the on-off switch here or here. Turn those on. Just for sanity, I'm going to turn the parking brake on. We are good to go at this point. So now we can focus on setting up the aircraft ready for our route and our flight and let the automated crew do everything else for us. Now I've just paused the sim. I'm going to fire up our route here so I can type that in. So I'm going to jump down to the right display. Go to checklist. In fact, before we go to checklist, let's look at options in the Airbus here. So if you go options sound, you can turn on and off cabin crew sound, cockpit volumes, flight crew, ATC, all sorts of lovely stuff. So we might as well turn ATC on because it sounds interesting. Cabin crew is on, flight crew is on. Great. Hear them? Very, very immersive. Let's go to checklist now. Going to turn the checklist on, turn the co-pilot on, and click on cockpit preparation. They will now run through setting up the cockpit, ready to go.
Okay, let's start with the cockpit preparation check.
This is a beginner's guide. We don't have to worry about anything else other than setting up our route, which is what I am now going to do. So left display,
Set on.
reset IRS to navigation. Okay, so we'll clear that message.
Check
We then go
normal.
to init, which is initialize,
Check.
and type in EGKK, this is where we're flying from, followed by a
Check
slash,
position.
LFPG, that is where we are flying to.
Idle.
Now it wants to know an alternate airport. I didn't figure one out already, so we'll put in something stupid here, which would be EGKK, so we're going to come home if it all goes wrong, which is stupid, but okay, whatever.
Checked and armed.
See this align IRS? Click on that. That will start aligning the inertial reference system on the navigation computers. Give yourself a flight number, so for me, we'll call myself Froogle 1.
Checked.
Cost index. The cost index is a number from 0 to 999, which dictates how fuel efficient the aircraft is configured to be in the climb, primarily. You can leave that at 999, which means don't be efficient at all. I tend to use a cost index of 20. That is what British Airways Virtual uses. That is what I'm going to use. It now wants to know our cruise flight level. We are flying south and east. Now, south and east puts us at an odd flight level rather than an even one, like 19, 21, 23, 25, 27, and so on. So we're going to fly on a flight level of 330 and put that in there. And it's already predicted our temperature of minus 51 degrees. With this page set up and no other information to go in here, click on the right arrow. It now wants to know the block fuel, which you get from the Airbus X fuel planner. You remember that is 5.7. Done. It's got our fuel plan in now. We are good to go. Next thing we need to do is set up our actual flight plan. To do that, we click on flight plan. It already knows about EGKK. It already knows about LFPG. We now just need to key in the waypoints. We know, let me look at our waypoints here. Our first waypoint, forget about SIDS and stars at this point. Our first waypoint is Hardy. So click on EGKK, type in HARDY as the next waypoint. It's asking you which one. There are 3 Hardys in the system. One is 48 miles away, one is 5,000 miles away, and one is 5,100 miles away. It is the 48 miles away one. And that will give you a temporary flight plan. Notice it says temporary. We will insert this into the actual flight plan. Everything stops being yellow, and that is now our proper flight plan. Click on Hardy once again, and now we can go through setting up the full route. You remember from the route planner, we are flying on the Mike 605 airway or air corridor from Hardy to Zidil. So click on Airways, type in that airway, Mike 605. That is taking us to a waypoint which is called Zidil. Now, according to the flight plan, we are then following Uniform Mike 605 as the next airway, and we are flying that all the way up to DPE. That's it. That's our entire route. Very, very simple. Insert it so it's no longer temporary. Now we scroll up by pressing the up button until we see these discontinuities. We need to clear those out. Otherwise the aircraft won't know what to do. It'll actually continue flying on the last heading it had once it hits those discos. So they're gone now. Scroll down, make sure there are no other discos, which there are not. Now we've already decided what our SID is. Normally you would talk to air traffic control and they would give you a SID unless you're using the default FSX ATC, which knows nothing of SIDs and stars. So we know we're taking off runway 26 left. So EGKK, departure, 26 left. Here are the SIDs it knows about. We already know which one we want. Oh, there it is. Hardy 5M. Hard 5 Mike. Click it. Insert it. That will now give you a bunch of extra waypoints. You can see those extra waypoints all leading up to Hardy, which is in here twice. Don't worry about it. It's not a big problem. So far, so good. Now, let me go back over to our charts and we will check the constraints. Now, you can't see the chart, so I'm kind of relying on you to remember what we said at the beginning of the video. But the first constraint is at or above 2,500 feet, then at or above 3,000, and finally at 5,000, 18 miles from OCK. So let's scroll back up here. Whoops, scroll down, sorry. Look at that. 18 miles. OC18 means 18 miles from OCK. R177M means radial 177 from Midhurst. Not Midhurst, sorry, my mistake. That's radial 177, basically. It's put in waypoints here which make a whole lot of sense based on what you previously saw on our charts. That might be 177 Midhurst. No, it's not. That would be very silly. So, look, there we go. 2,500. there, 3,000 there, 5,000 there, 6,000 there. Our altitude constraints are already set up for us. If they were not, we would simply type in / the altitude and press the appropriate LSK to set it. LSK means line select key. So our SID is set, our departure runway is set, everything looks good so far. We're not finished on setting this up. We now go to performance. We're going to do a flaps 1, which is a standard takeoff in the Airbus. We key in number 1, put that into the flaps setting. It will calculate everything else for us. Notice this flex takeoff temperature here. Flex is the Airbus's version of derating the engines. Most airlines do not use full power on the engines, to preserve the life of the engine, to extend the time between service. So it's going to presume an outside takeoff temperature of 63 degrees, which will lower the output power of the engine, prevent us from choosing 100% power, and we will choose flex when we go to take off in the next video. It's also given us our speed bugs, V1, which is the point of no return. Once we hit V1, we cannot abort. We are taking off. At VR, we rotate, we pull back on the stick until it hurts. The nose will start to come up. Passengers in the back will go whee, and we will start to climb into the air at V2. We should be airborne and established and good. Transition altitude is a standard for most airports. It varies by territory. Sometimes it can vary by airport. It is the point at which we stop using our METAR report air pressure. Let me show you what that is real quick. Whoops, my chair just broke. Hang on. Okay, now we had a METAR report was showing us, I think, 1005. I'm just going to double check that right now. Please hold. Yep, 1005. QNH. So we're going to dial this down to 1005. Now, at the transition altitude, we switch from using the QNH at the area that we are flying to or from. That's the pressure at the area, to using a standard pressure worldwide, so that everybody, when air traffic control says climb to flight level 230, everybody does end up at 230 based on a general air pressure setting, which is known as standard, which we get by right-clicking this knob. For now, it's 1005 until we climb up, then it becomes standard, and we're all good. So that 6,000 feet is the point at which that would be done. You don't need to worry about it; it is done for you. Let's look down here now. The co-pilot and first officer are waiting for us to close the doors. That will start the next phase of pushback, next phase of the checklist, which leads us into starting up and pushback. So let's go ahead and close the doors. Click on return. Aircraft doors. Close the door. They will now automatically start doing their thing. With the door closed, incidentally, we will press Control J.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Control J making this gate ramp extend backwards, or retract, I should say. There goes the captain.
Closed and locked. APU on. Is on.
External power.
Disconnected and off. Is on. Idle. Is on. 1005.
1005.
Set on.
Okay, they flicked all the switches. I tried to move the camera around to show you what they were switching. Ultimately, if you want to fly this all yourself and turn the disable the co-pilot and first officer and captain, those are the switches that you will need to do. It is now giving you a choice: start and push, or start. I'm not going to use any add-ons on this flight to do pushback, so we will use the standard start and push. Here, click on this button. It asks you how far back do you want to go. 50 meters, 164 feet. It's a little bit too far. Let's drop this down to about 30 meters. And now I always get this confused, left or right. I'm going to say left, hoping that pushes the tail left. If it goes the wrong way, then you can all laugh at my expense. And we want to go left 90 degrees. And if I haven't overestimated this distance, and I think I might have, I'm going to drop it down some more. Then we won't end up on the grass, and we will be facing the correct way. Click on start.
Flight deck to ground.
Go ahead.
We have ATC clearance for push and start. Please confirm ground equipment and service is clear.
Ground equipment and jetway clear. Doors closed and steering pin in position. Awaiting your instructions.
Starting pushback.
Roger. Please release parking brakes.
Okay, so we need to release the brake. Left click.
Parking brake released.
Okay. Starting pushback. Cleared to start both engines.
Is okay.
Okay, so now we're cleared to start, and you will see a note down here telling us start engine number 2. Starting an engine in an Airbus is actually very easy. We turn the starter to start by right-clicking, and then we flick number 2's switch. You will see these dials start to climb up.
Echo, Bravo, November, cross 15 right, hold short, 15 left, active, 2137.
There he goes.
Engine 2 stabilized.
So once it's stabilized, we now just repeat by pressing the switch for number 1. Up comes engine 1. We don't have to worry about anything now. Failures are turned off. And we can go and watch pushback and hope that Froogle got the number right in terms of how far back to go. I think I did. There's our waypoints now all set in, by the way, for our SIDs and
Engine
stars.
1
Our SID, sorry.
stabilized.
Engine 1 is stabilized. Pushback is pretty much coming to an end. Hopefully we don't end up on the grass. If you do, it doesn't matter. It's just a limitation of using the built-in Airbus X pushback feature. Unfortunately, there are other add-ons you can get like GSX that I normally use, which will push you back onto the taxi line where you should be. We are going to end up on the grass. It's not a big deal. Again, my views are being managed by an add-on called EasyDock that lets me hold down the mouse button and shift the view around for you guys, and also jump from panel to panel. Normally you would be using this thing, which is the built-in view changer.
Please set parking brakes.
Alright, wants to set the parking brake, so we'll do that. Left click again.
Parking brake set.
Okay, tow bar disconnected. No steering pin removed and all clear signals at the right. Have a good flight.
Excellent. So now we are pushed back, we are ready to go. The screen down here is telling us wait,
After start checklist.
and then the after start checklist commences. Here we go. We need to get involved in this.
Set. Set off. Set off. Set.
Then set by right click.
Check 0. Set.
Flight controls?
Flight controls is where we check out control services. This is a fly-by-wire aircraft, so we would move our joystick through all extents and it would check that the surfaces are working properly. You'll see them change the screens down here as well to verify everything. It's also a neat way for the software to calibrate your joystick. I'm sorry, I know people have called me out and said that's not the case. It actually kind of is, just because it's software. But anyway,
Full
left.
Full right. Neutral.
Now this is me moving the joystick, by the way, just so you know.
Full up. Full down.
You'll see the dials here deflect as well. Now we need to do the rudder, so hopefully you've set up your rudder pedals or your twist grip. I'm using pedals, so full left.
Full left. Full right. Neutral.
Check. Flaps?
We already set into the
Flaps
FMS a flaps 1 takeoff, so he set flaps 1.
Passes?
Checked.
Econ door page?
Checking the door page
Checked.
by pressing door.
Received.
Checklist complete.
Now you'll hear a beep. That little high-pitched beep means check the right-hand FMS display again. And it's asking us to start taxi. I actually pressed the button to start it taxiing on its own.
As required. Press pedal.
Bravo. Alpha Echo short of Kilo.
Check 0.
134 close, just make 2 left now. 2 left turns and hold short
Max.
Kilo.
Takeoff
Alright, Echo Alpha short.
Reviewed.
Next to you.
471 cross runway 15 left,
Set.
monitor tower 128.8.
Flight instruments.
Cross 15 left,
Checked.
28.8,
Check.
JetBlue,
Keel
471
country.
Set.
2137 cross runway 15 left, and monitor
Okay,
tower
so I actually
128.8.
started that taxi checklist a little too soon by pressing the number 1 key on the keyboard by mistake. Normally, you would need to be taxiing above 10 knots. It will ask you to check the brakes, and you're good to go. That is pretty much it for this first part of the absolute beginner's guide to the Airbus. In the next part, I will show you how to taxi to the runway, which is harder than it seems. You need to find the route that you're going to follow and follow that route in order to get to the runway, and then obviously line up and go through the remaining checklists, take off, engage the autopilot, and fly en route. In the third part, we will be descending, managing the approach, and then an auto land into Paris Charles de Gaulle. I hope this has been useful. I know a few of you did suffer some confusion from my last video and wanted a very, very basic beginner's guide. This is it. As always, my name is Froogle. See you in the next video.